Level 5 Diploma in Leadership for Health and Social Care and Children and Young People's Services. Unit 2, Promote Professional Development. Enhanced Limited Copyright 2019. Why is CPD important? CPD stands for Continuing Professional Development. Occasionally, the term CPPD is used instead, meaning continuing professional and personal development. These terms are used in reference to the learning activities you undertake as part of your development as an individual and as a practitioner in your field of work. Here are some examples of CPD in action. Sarah is an English teacher at a secondary school. Over the course of the academic year, she attends a variety of teacher training workshops, English literature and language seminars, and colleague mentoring sessions. She also undertakes research in her subject area for the department, reviews books and journal articles, and chairs team meetings at school. Mohammed is a physiotherapist working in a busy city hospital. He continues his skills development through a university-led course in his field of interest, as well as attending learning events such as workshops and conferences, and conducting inquiry-based research. He also completes mandatory training based in the hospital, and conducts coaching and mentoring sessions for his colleagues. As you can see from reading the examples on the previous slide, CPD is key to becoming a knowledgeable and skilled practitioner, and maintaining this over the course of your career. This means you are able to make a more meaningful contribution to the work of your team and perform more effectively within the workplace. It also means that you can grow as an individual, becoming more confident in your abilities and opening up opportunities for yourself. Having a strong CPD record is really motivational because you can see how much development you have achieved over your career. The Level 5 diploma you are enrolled on will go towards your CPD, giving you a stronger understanding of health and social care, and providing you with the ability to perform to the highest standard in your field. Here are a range of potential barriers to professional development. Supporting professional development. There are lots of ways that support for development can be provided to those working within a care setting. Examples of these include appraisals. These help the individual know their strengths and weaknesses in their role and provide an opportunity for target setting. Inductions. These are beneficial because they provide the individual with the basic knowledge and skills required to carry out their role, giving them time to get used to procedures and practice and ask questions. Training courses. These are used to help workers increase their skills and knowledge in particular areas against an approved curriculum and/or set of criteria. Important factors. When selecting opportunities and activities for keeping knowledge and practice up to date, you need to consider the key factors that might impact on your development activities. Examples of these include timing. Are you going to be able to attend the development activity? Does it fit into your work and/or personal schedule? Funding. Are you/your organization able to fund the training? Method of learning. Is the method of learning suitable for you? Relevance. How does the learning fit with your career, sector and personal interests? Self-evaluation. When thinking about self-evaluation of your own knowledge and performance against standards and benchmarks, you may wish to consider the professional bodies associated with your working sector and the expectations these have regarding your practice. For example, you may be required to work in line with CQC standards. Ask yourself, what are the standards expected of me? How do I meet these? How am I supported to meet these? What are the consequences of failing to meet these? Prioritization. Personal development is an ongoing process. Having end goals helps individuals to remain motivated to improve their skills and knowledge. Prioritization is key because it allows you to efficiently establish a hierarchy of goals and targets to work through for personal development. Often, using appraisal meetings is beneficial in this area, because it allows you to set goals that will be most useful with a manager and make plans for how to manage your goals. Learning preferences can be determined using VARK. V. Visual A. Oral R. Read and write K. Kinesthetic. Most people learn in different ways, which is why it is important that educators use a variety of teaching approaches in order to cater for these and ensure all learners have an equal opportunity to learn. Neil Fleming, 2005, identified 4 styles of learning, known by the acronym VARK. We can use these to inform our CPD planning. It's important to remember that not all learners fall into a specific style and that many people are multimodal, i.e. use more than one style to learn. Selecting learning opportunities. What kind of learner are you? You should think about the VARK model when selecting learning opportunities for yourself and others. If you're a hands-on, i.e. kinesthetic, learner, for example, you might choose a learning opportunity in which there are lots of activities for you to get involved with. An oral learner, on the other hand, might gain a lot from a seminar session or a conference. Try to get in a mixture of different activities if you can, but play to your strengths as that's the most effective way of increasing your knowledge and skills. Planning professional development. A CPD plan is a plan you make regarding your future skills and knowledge development. A CPD record is a record of the CPD you have already undertaken as part of your professional role. A few things to think about when planning your professional development include your job description, what skills and knowledge are relevant to your role. What actions do you need to undertake in your role which can be developed further through CPD? Are there areas which are constantly changing, for example technology, that you need to be trained on? Your age and seniority. Or will you be responsible for mentoring, chairing meetings, making decisions, and so on, within your department? Are you in a managerial or leadership role? What else do you need or want to know in relation to your role? Your career aspirations. What skills and knowledge do you need to achieve your career aspirations? What else do you need to know that will improve your productivity in your role? Other things to think about might include things you personally want to improve upon, the level of detail you require, what your organization can do for you, and the resources they can afford you, how much spare time and money you have, the feasibility of CPD activities, i.e. are your planned activities realistically achievable? Your CPD plan does not have to look exactly like this. However, this does illustrate the kind of thing you should be looking to include in your own CPD plan. Depending on your place of work, there are different ways that your CPD plan will be laid out. Remember, though, that the content is the most important aspect. How effective is your plan? It is important to be aware of the effectiveness of your CPD plan so that you can keep track of what you have learned and what you have yet to learn. One way of doing this is by following Thomas Guskey's 1997 model of CPD impact by looking at the 5 following points. Participant reaction, participant learning, organizational support and change, the participants' use of new knowledge and skills, student learning outcomes. If the CPD activities you have planned for are effective in delivering positive results for these 5 points, you can follow a similar learning plan in the future. Theories and models. 0F reflection. The most effective way to make assessments and improvements to our professional practice is through reflection. Reflection allows us to view ourselves objectively and identify what we do well and what we may need to improve on. Reflection promotes the understanding of what it means to be a great practitioner rather than attacking how you work. Donald Shern, the reflective practitioner. Shern believed that reflection begins during practice, especially when faced with more challenging or conflicting situations, which he referred to as the swampy lowland messes. Whilst he saw reflection on action as important, Shern emphasized reflection in action as the core of professional artistry in which practitioners learn to think on their feet and improvise. Jilly Bolton looking through the mirror. Bolton says that anyone carrying out self-reflection will come across three paradoxes. To acquire confidence, you must let go of certainty. You get nowhere by looking for something when you don't know what it is. You achieve nothing by beginning to act when you don't know how you should act. She suggests that facing these paradoxes is essential for reflective practitioners and will help them to respect and have faith in themselves, trust in the reflective process, and recognize that uncertainty is vital for learning and change to take place. David Kolb, Experiential Learning Cycle. Kolb saw learning as an integrated process in which each stage leads into the next. Naturally, reflection is a key part of this cycle, as it is only through reflecting on what has happened that we can note what needs to change and move on to improve our practice. No part of the cycle can function on its own. Graham Gibbs, The Reflective Cycle. Gibbs' cycle helps us to understand our own practice more clearly by breaking it down into chunks and considering situations one step at a time. Start by describing the situation. Move on to think about how you felt about this and what prompted this response. You should then evaluate the situation as a whole and analyze the different aspects. What conclusions have you come to? And what actions will you take in similar situations in the future? Using feedback to improve practice. Sometimes, when looking to improve practice, it is useful to look to feedback from others. An example of an opportunity to seek feedback to do this is given below. Nisha works as a manager for a domiciliary care organization. One day, the daughter of one of the service users comes in very upset to say that a care worker had taken her father's debit card and withdrawn £250, which was now missing. Nisha doesn't know what to do. She is worried about asking her line manager, who is on annual leave, as she fears looking incompetent. In the end, she decides to call anyway and the correct procedure is explained to her. She suspends the care worker immediately before telephoning the police and beginning an internal investigation. During the investigation, the suspended care worker claims they were asked to withdraw the money by the service user, who has Alzheimer's, and that they did not know they were not allowed to do this. The money is then recovered from the service user's home. Think about Nisha's situation and ask yourself the following questions. Who can Nisha ask for feedback in regard to her own practice? What feedback can be given to the care worker who withdrew the money? How can this feedback be used to improve future practice? What ideas do you have for improving processes and practice following this scenario? If you would like to cite this presentation in your work, please use the citation template below.